Hey, what's up, Sim Racers? Welcome to the first episode of the Pinna podcast. I am PSRT Ty Guy, and I'll be hosting this podcast every Friday at 10 p.m. I'm going to start this podcast out by giving a quick shout out to our team founder and leader, PSRT So Marvel, for creating such a great team. His team really flows together. You know, we practice almost every day. We're always in parties together, kicking the shit, giving each other tips about the game. So I'd like to thank him for creating a family-type atmosphere in this team with some really talented GT sports players. I'd also like to give a shout out to our design team leader, King JR, for creating some amazing liveries for the team. The guy really works hard. He's really talented. Our design team works their ass off. A lot of work goes into making team liveries, and I'd just like to say thank you to all of our design team for creating some of the best liveries I've probably seen on the game. And that's a lot. Like, a lot of liveries are created on here. I know I think some teams actually use Gran Turismo to make liveries for their car, but I'm not too sure which teams do that. But if anybody knows, go ahead, drop that in the comment section, because that's pretty cool. So today's topic is going to be Gran Turismo Sport. I figured that's our team main game, so I figured it'd be a great place to start. But you can always catch sim racing news and updates for like iRacing, F1 2019, and other esports sim racing games here on the podcast. I recorded this podcast two ways. We did one where me and PSRT Bad Outlaw won. We talked about some GT sport and some other random stuff from like racing to the coronavirus, and I'm gonna record it this way, solo. And I think I'm gonna upload the solo one first, just to get the podcast going and give everyone like a good idea of what to expect in the future on the podcast. And I just want to thank Bad Out for taking the time out of his day last night to talk to us and pretty much share his thoughts and stuff on the game. If you guys still want to hear the discussion, I'll drop the link. Maybe I'll upload it as another video. I'll just drop the link in the description, and you guys can check that stuff out. I think tomorrow, actually, I'm gonna start doing some like race reaction videos on the channel. Probably start with like a world tour race or something. But if you have a FIA race or a daily race, I'd love to react to it. So just drop it in the comment section, and I'll go check it out, and I'll put up my reaction to it like the day after or something. But yeah, before we jump into our main topic, just hit that bell button and subscribe so you get a notification every time we upload a video to the podcast, and you can stay up to date with everything and you don't fall out of the loop. So first thing we're going to talk about GT Sport, of course. For people who are just getting into sim racing, or you're just listening because you're a friend or family, just giving an ear to my podcast, showing support. Much love to all you guys who click the link and support me, or want to just see what I'm up to these days. This is what I'm doing. So GT Sport, the real driving simulator, is Gran Turismo's newest up-to-date game. Even though GT Sport is developed and produced in Japan by the developer Polyphony Digital and producer Kazunori Yamauchi, the word Gran Turismo is actually Italian for Grand Touring. I thought that was pretty cool. So for people who don't know, like myself, I haven't really played Gran Turismo for a long time. Gran Turismo Sport is probably the first Gran Turismo I played, other than I was probably like 8 on PlayStation or something. But the first Gran Turismo launched in 1997 for PlayStation 1, and they sold over, I think, just over 10 million copies. So it's actually the most selling Gran Turismo besides, I think, Gran Turismo 4. Even Gran Turismo Sport, they only sold like 8 million copies, but great game. I understand why Gran Turismo Sport leans more towards multiplayer. Some people don't really like the multiplayer aspect of gaming, but some people do. Since the launch, actually, of Gran Turismo 1 up until now, they've sold 80 million copies, and just recently God of War passed them for being the most selling franchise under the PlayStation brand. So that's pretty cool. Gran Turismo Sport, it's a PlayStation exclusive now, so yeah, they're doing their thing. They've been around for a while. Quick story about Yamauchi. I think he used to drive cars or race, or maybe he just liked flying down the highway, but what got him to make the game is he crashed his car really bad and got in an accident. He figured, like, he likes racing, but he doesn't like getting hurt, so he'd go and make a video game. And almost 20 years later, 23 years later, people still kicking and doing world tour and all that. So yeah, there's that. Another thing about GT Sports, it's sponsored by the FIA, which is the Fédération Internationale des Automobiles. FIA hosts 2 championship series on GT Sport, which is cool. Like, you see a governing body for racing in real life getting involved with a video game. Like, it just shows you where video games are at these days. It's pretty cool. But they host 2 championship series on GT Sport, one being the Nations Cup, which is a regional series that puts pretty much people, let's say like the North American region, which consists of the United States and Canada. They battle to determine who the best person in the region is, and then you have the Manufacturer Series, which puts the makers of the cars pretty much in a series battle against each other. So if you are a fan of Ford, you could take Ford and race against Corvette, BMW, and all that other stuff. In the Manufacturer Series, you have to sign a series-long contract with your favorite car manufacturer or whatever manufacturer you choose or want, and you test it against other top leading brands, pretty much, like I said. If you're looking to compete in the Manufacturer Series and really be ahead in the leaderboard, you want to make sure you pay attention to the car that you choose and the car is given when you sign the contract, because like, for example, if you want to sign with Toyota because you love the GR3 Toyota Supra, it's a great car, but the grade 4 car they give you, the Toyota 86, just really can't compete with the other cars. But that's just my opinion. I raced with them in the last series, and the 86 just kind of let me down. If you like to compete in both these series and test yourself against some of the best players in the world, just go to sports mode on Gran Turismo, and you'll see them right next to the daily races when you open sports mode. Right now, the FIA Championship is reaching just halfway through the 2020 preseason, so you can still jump in and grab some points, or you could just jump in and improve your driver rating and sportsmanship rating before the actual 2020 season begins, which is, I'd probably say, middle of April, beginning of May. Racing in daily races in sports mode will improve your driver rating and sportsmanship rating as well, not just being in the FIA race. So if you don't want to wait if it's Thursday and you don't want to wait till Sunday to get your driver rating up, you can jump in some daily races as well. So you got that. For the people who don't know, GT Sport, unlike its past games, like I said, it's more aimed towards multiplayer this time around. I know before it was more about like the car and you could build the engine, and I know a couple Gran Turismos had probably like 1,000 cars in it and all that, but this one is really to put like a competitive edge into esports racing, pretty much. So yeah, it's aimed more towards multiplayer. You could either make a custom lobby for your friends, or you can jump in sports mode, which sports mode on the game is for the competitions, for the league and stuff like that, giving you rating and stuff like that, So sports mode, like I said, it gives you a driver rating and a sportsmanship rating. With motorsport being a no contact sport, your driver rating and sportsmanship rating are kind of like a way of telling you what tier you're in as a driver. So for example, an EE driver, an E/E driver is the worst, and an A+/S driver being the best. So A+ is like the best driver rating you can get. An S is the best sportsmanship rating you can get. The more positions you gain in a race through your sports mode will improve your driver rating, but you have to race clean because dirty driving will like tank probably not necessarily your driver rating, but your sportsmanship rating. So when you're racing in dailies or FIA, if you start in 10th place, you want to try to get to at least 8th to raise that driver rating. And you want to do it clean, because if you race dirty and you're taking people off the track, that will, like I said, tank your sportsmanship rating, and you will be at EE. And you don't want to be like an AE driver or even an EE driver, because if you really want to compete and reach the top top tier or like the top class of the game, you want to be like the best in the game, then the sportsmanship rating and driver rating are really important, because it will determine what points are available for you to obtain in each series, each of the separate series. Because both championships are point series. It's not just it's manufacturer day and I'm gonna jump in and win the championship today. Like, you have to show up each race and compete, because it's a point series. The person with the most points at the end is the winner, not who won the last race on Sunday. So each race, depending on your rating, will have only a certain amount of points. For example, a driver with like an EE rating in a championship series will only be able to compete for maybe 30 points. Like, maybe that's the most in an EE rating EE rated lobby. It's never going to be much, because it's pretty much like the bottom of the barrel, like the lowest it's like the lowest rank you can get. So of course you're not going to be competing with the top players of the game who have a higher rating. An AS in an AS lobby, A/S lobby, you'll probably be able to race for 150 points or more, just because you're racing against like top quality drivers. So being an AS driver, that'll really help you get ahead in the competition, like if it's raced like day one, versus if you're EE driver on day one of the series, because that first race you can jump up 300 points or 200 points. I don't know if it's as much now, but I know over the past year I've seen in some lobbies there'll be like 600 points for high ranked drivers. And that's why if you go on the point ranking part of the sports mode in there, you see the top superstars have like 1,000 points, and you're like down there like 100 or something, because they're at the superstar rank. And the superstar rank is pretty much that's like the goal for everybody competing. Like, if you're into Gran Turismo and you're doing the FIA races or something, I mean, yeah, maybe you're just doing it for fun and you want to just like race and stuff like that, but usually a lot of people are doing it to hit that SS rank, because that's pretty much a superstar status. You're above the highest rank in the game, which is AS, or I'm sorry, you are the highest rank in the game, which is not obtainable. The only way to get the superstar rank is to be within the top 140 people in like your region. So for example, in the Nations Cup, if you're from North America or the United States or Canada, and you're in the North American region for the Nations Series, you have to be within the top 140 people to even be to get the application for the SS. And if you don't maintain those points while you're up there, like within the next series you go into, if like you drop out of that top 140, like you will lose that SS. So the superstar rank, it also puts you in contention for being like the series champion pretty much. Like, I don't think you're gonna be able to win the Nations Cup or the Manufacturer Series over people if you don't have an SS like the top players of the game, because of the points that they're able to get. So you really want to say like do a series, get your rating high up to like AS, and then finish the series within the top 140. So the next series you can start with SS, and you can start with a possibility of entering races to gather points that will put you within like the top 20 even, and maybe you can win like the series. It also puts you in contention of like, if you can do that, if you can reach the top 16, then like maybe you can get invited to like the World Tour. And some people like our team, that's kind of like our goal. Let's try to get at least one guy on our team on the World Tour. That's where everybody wants to go. That's where like the prize money is. So yeah, that's how you do it. You just, if you want to get to that World Tour stage, you gotta race in these FIA races, you gotta have a high sportsmanship rating, and you gotta get to SS. So like I said, the World Tour, it's an international sim racing tournament hosted on a stage where like the best GT sports players compete to like crown the king or queen of GT sport. Like, not that I know of, no girls have won like the series yet, but I'm sure that there is some girl out there that probably could be like a GT sports like racing champion, or a World Tour champion, or even iRacing champion. There's gotta be some out there. So like for me, I don't know, I try to get my wife to play sometimes, and like she does, like she'll get on the wheel and she'll go around the track. She just, I don't know, she's not into it as much as me, but like I try to get her every other time, or every now and then I should say. But I don't know, maybe if I tell her I give her a back rub in a Starbucks coffee every time she wins, she'll get more into it. But yeah, back onto the serious note. So yeah, that's like all the competitive side of Gran Turismo. But if you aren't into competing, like player versus player, like racing online and stuff, GT Sport also has like arcade mode, time trials, a campaign mode, with like some AI leagues. There's challenges. You get the circuit experience, which teaches you circuits. There's of course like Le Mans on there, some real life circuits, and stuff like that. If you give me 1 second. So yeah, you got that, and there's also the Lewis Hamilton DLC that just came out. I think it's only probably, yeah, it's $6 or $7. It's not too bad. The DLC gives you a couple tracks where you can try to chase down Lewis Hamilton's ghost and beat his times on some GT sports circuits. I think he's on the Nürburgring GP as well, so there's some like real life circuits that he puts some times on the game. For, like I said, for the people who don't like to play multiplayer, GT Sport also is VR headset compatible. The game looks absolutely amazing with the VR. You get like a really good feel of being on the track and being in the car, especially if you use like a wheel and you're in a rig. The VR is absolutely amazing. It's still cool with the controller, but probably doesn't hit the same. The VR sadly doesn't work like online on Gran Turismo, but it's still a cool experience, like offline, using it, being in like the cars and on these real life circuits. So there's that. If you don't like to race competitively, you just like to, you're just like a car guy or girl. So some other things around GT Sport. There was just an update on Tuesday, update 1.56, bringing in 3 new cars: the Fiat 500 1.2 8V Lounge SS08, and then you have the Nissan 180 SX Type X, the 96 version, and then you have the GT1 class Le Mans winning Aston Martin DBR9. I haven't been on GT Sport this week, so I think I jumped into a practice lobby last night for probably 20 minutes, so I haven't really tried any of the new cars yet. My wheel is actually getting fixed. Long story short about that, I had a T150. It somehow shorted out, but it's still under warranty, so people at Thrustmaster are fixing it up for me. Just for anybody out there, be careful with animals like hair and stuff like that, especially sim racing guys with wheels. I'm not sure if this has happened to anyone, but I'll just tell you, I was in the middle of racing pretty much. I have a desk for my wheel. My pedals are on a wooden floor, but I'm racing one day. My dog was I have an Alaskan Malamute. Dog's running back and forth under my legs, and Alaskan Malamutes are pretty big dogs. They got a lot of hair. But I'm coming down the last straight on spot. I pause the game. I get him out of the room. But when I sit back down, I unpause. And, I got my hands on the wheel. I'm ready to drive again. I'm coming down that straight. I press the brake and I gear down. And I feel a static shock in my fingers. So I'm oh. And then my wheel turned off. On T150s, you get the metal shifters in the back. So I feel this zap and the wheel just completely turns off. So I don't know, my wife called me crazy, but yeah, I called the guys and it shorted out, and they sent me Thrustmaster sent me the shipping label and stuff like that. But I don't know, you kind of gotta go through backflips to get your rig fixed if it's under warranty. I had to make a video, take pictures, find my invoice, all that stuff, but I'm still happy that they can fix it. So back on the update 1.56, they brought in 3 cars like I said, and they for offline guys, they actually put in a couple more events in the campaign mode. There's one endurance for the X 2019 Red Bull car, and I think they put some more in for the beginner FR challenge, the amateur group 3 cup, and the professional Lamborghini cup. Like I said, I haven't been on the game, so I myself haven't tried it out. If you guys have tried it out, let us know down in the comments what you think about it, or the new additions to the campaign mode and the cars. That's really the best thing about GT Sport versus some other sim racers. They're always putting in free content. I know the Lewis Hamilton DLC wasn't free, but I understand why it does cost money. He's a professional race car driver, so it's his time, and they're always giving us a bunch of free content, so it's understandable. You gotta make your game, or you gotta make your money, doing what you're doing. Games like iRacing and Assetto Corsa, you have to buy cars, or the better cars or tracks, especially iRacing. If you want to compete in a series on iRacing, not only do you have to buy the right car for the series, which is I think $7 or more. I'm not sure. I was just on iRacing last in November, I'm pretty sure, and it was $11 when I was looking at it in November. So I think I'm lowballing it, but I would say it's $7 or more. But not only do you have to buy the car, you gotta buy every track the series runs on. So if you just spent $20 on 2 tracks, and then they run Nürburgring for a you gotta buy that, or you're gonna be shit out of luck on the series. But I'm not really that experienced with iRacing, so I don't really know how they handle that. I know you gotta subscribe to race, so if you guys know more about that, just let me know some details about iRacing down in the comments. So yeah, back to the update. 1.56, it also hits on the penalty system. Penalty system just been frustrating the hell out of absolutely everybody. You're coming down a straight, guy behind you hits you so hard, going into a turn, you're all of a sudden in the bathroom line, at the race stadium, and then you get a penalty for it. So I think Poly Digital got to work on some issues some of the players were complaining about. I talked to some team members yesterday about it, if it was any better, like this week versus last week, and people on my team were saying it's really not that much better. It still like operates the same, but the time given just seems like it's kind of cut in half, which is cool, but probably shouldn't allow like people to punt you and drive off into the sunset with your rear bumper. Like that's just not fair. It's not fair if like you're racing clean and out of somebody, like out of nowhere someone just wipes you out and there goes your race. So yeah, I'll be on the game later tonight in the FIA Nations Cup, and I'll get to see how the new penalty system works there. If you want to catch some stream of the race, I'll probably stream later. Some of our team members stream their races. I'll post them in the description for you guys to check out with mine. I always try to compete in the FIA races, so you'll see those like on my Twitch or even here on YouTube. I also compete in some like Monster Energy Supercross leagues. So if like you're into Supercross, you can catch some great online league races over there. Monster Energy Supercross. It's not really at like MX Simulator level yet, but it's growing. You know, strong community. People always trying to get something going. But yeah, I don't know. Let me know in the comments how you guys are doing like before, how you were doing before the penalty system update, and how you're doing after. I'd love to hear like some feedback on that. There were also updates to the BOP system, mostly for like the grade 4 cars, but I'm just not sure which cars. I'd have to get on GT Planet or something to figure that out. Shout out to GT Planet, always supplying like the best info around sim racing. So that's basically everything for Gran Turismo. If you'd like to jump in and practice with us for like upcoming FIA races, just shoot me a message on PSN. I'm on PSRT_tie-guy on PSN, or just comment your PSN on the video. So with all that Gran Turismo stuff being said, I'm just gonna read you some like news headlines and stuff like that before we get going. So first big headline, I know some of these have come out early in February, but these are mainly headlines from February. So up first, Igor Fraga wins 2020 Toyota Racing Series title and final race decider. A lot of GT Planet's articles are from Andrew Evans, so thank you, Andrew Evans, for all the work that you do over there. Igor Fraga, he won the 2018 GT Sport World Tour Championship. So then he goes on. He actually didn't qualify for the final race, and last year he had a really bad race in the semifinal. I think semifinal A, and just crashed out in the repertoires, or however you say the last chance qualifier. Just crashed out, didn't make the final, letting what's his name, McCall his all. He went on to be the 2019 champion. So anyway, Igor Fraga wins the 2018 GT Sport World Tour Championship, and then goes on to win this Toyota 2020 Racing Series in New Zealand. It was a New Zealand Grand Prix. He went into the last race in second place, 8 points behind the point leader. He pulled out on top. By the end of the race, he was setting like the fastest laps, like lap after lap, like really hitting the track. He even collided with like his teammate, I think, because I think it's Formula 2. The article really doesn't say what type of Formula racing it is. I'm pretty sure it's 2, but yeah, him and his teammate are battling, and how they do it is I think they do 3 races or 2 races where they set one grid, and the second race is a reverse grid, and they just happen to start next to each other. So they're bumping and grinding down the track, but he ended up pulling out on top and taking home the win and the championship for the whole series. So it's pretty awesome to see a sim racer behind the wheel of like an actual car, and like he's doing great. Like he's not the one taking people off the track and stuff like that, So way to go, Igor. Good for you. Another thing about Igor Fraga, he's going to be racing in Formula 3 this summer, so he's actually stepping up in competition for driving in real life. So good luck, dude. Good luck to you. Another headline that came up in the beginning of February is Indy 500 winner Juan Pablo Montoya is now an esports champion too. So, in a sim racing event held in Miami, I was living down there like just the beginning or towards the end of last year. I just moved back to New York, but I didn't know this stuff was going on down there. But in an event called Miami's Fastest Gamer, Montoya raced against reigning world's fastest gamer champion James Baldwin and season 1 winner Rudy Van Buren, and pulled out a win that even surprised himself. Sorry, I'm just reading the article here. Montoya won the Monaco Grand Prix twice, and he also raced as a guest on the GT Sport World Tour last year. I don't know if anybody caught that race. I think it was Monaco where they did like Super GT was out there. It was like some of the actual races versus like some YouTube personalities and people around sim racing or race car drivers. So he was the guest out there racing, which is pretty cool. It was a cool event. You can catch that World Tour race on YouTube. Just search Gran Turismo Sport Monaco World Tour or something like that. I'm sure you can find it. And so the last headline I got for you guys is Formula One postpones 2020 Chinese Grand Prix due to coronavirus outbreak. Yeah, so that coronavirus shit, I guess, is pretty serious. So on April 19th Formula One race, it's been postponed due to the outbreak of the coronavirus. I guess this strain of coronavirus, it's a new strain called novel coronavirus, NCOV. It's caused at least 45,000 cases of respiratory disorder called COVID-19 since first identified in Wuhan, China. That's where everything's going down, I guess, or where this is pretty much started from, was Wuhan, China. It was discovered, somebody was discovered sick in around like December, middle of December or something like that. The coronavirus has been responsible for SARS and MERS and epidemics between the coronavirus has been responsible for SARS and MERS epidemic between 2002 and 2012, but I guess this is just a new strain of disease with a bunch of travel restrictions and to mainland China and other countries that people are trying to either go visit or come home from. I guess the Formula One promoter for the event, they requested to postpone it just the beginning of the month, and it just got agreed to this past week. They're still trying to figure out a date to put it on, but of course they got to take care of the disease that's spreading. This is actually one of several sporting events affected by the outbreak. I think there was even, from what I heard yesterday talking to a friend, the 2020 Olympics, if this situation isn't handled by, I think, May, the 2020 Olympics in Japan it might be canceled. So hopefully that doesn't happen and that gets all under control before May gets here. Because skateboarding is going to be in the Olympics this year, and that's pretty cool. I want to see that. So yeah, those are just some headlines from February. Shout out again to Andrew Evans for posting some great articles. Really works hard. So just moving along here, I'm going to give out some Pinnacle Sim Race Team news. It's really just for our team and some of our drivers and stuff like that. I just want to give a shout out to one of our drivers, PSRT Bad Out. His name's PSRT Bad Outlaw 1 now. It used to be PSRT Bad Out 1, so if you just hear me call him Bad Out, that's why. He's sitting at he's 114th ranked in the manufacturer series right now, so he's on his way to getting SS. Maybe he'll get the SS going into the 2020 FIA GT Sport season, like the actual season. We're only in preseason mode right now, so maybe he'll be able to start his next season ranked really high and push towards the top 16. So good luck on the rest of your preseason, Bad Out, and hopefully you get that SS, man. Next up, for news for our team. Our grade 2 tournament for the new guys on our team. You're more than welcome to join. You just got to get with me or Marvel about your team color and pick an available teammate. A lot of the teams already taken, so you just gotta talk to us. Maybe even Dope to find out who's available, who's not on a team, and what color. On race day, your grade 2 car needs to be the color of your team, and you have to match with your teammate. So you gotta collaborate with your teammate and talk to them. Get with them about creating a livery for your grade 2 car. It's pretty much a must for our series. Just helps with the videos and stuff like that. The next race for our series is tonight, actually, after your FIA Nations Cup races. So do your best in FIA Nations. Don't worry about our races later. Do your thing. And the lobby for our grade 2 race, we're gonna open the lobby at 11 p.m. and we're gonna start the race at 12. So tonight's track is the Nürburgring GP. Fuel times 4, tire times 4. Medium and soft tires are allowed, but you have to run mediums, and the race will be 19 laps. Our leaderboard going into tonight's grade 2 race is, in first place we have the blue team, which is Bad Out and Boosted with 51 points. In second place we have the purple team, which is Demonic and Suppressed with 43 points. They're up 1 point from the last race. In third place we have the yellow team, which is our team leader, So Marvel, and myself. Tie Guy, which is 34 points. We're up 2 since our last race. In fourth place we have the green team, which is Magoo and Gunner at 22 points. They're down 2 from the last race. In fifth place we have the red team, which is Thirsty and Tampa. They're at 18 points. They're up 3 from the last race. In sixth place we have the black team, which is Dimebag and Blackwing. They're sitting with 15 points. They're down 2 from the last race. In seventh place we have the orange team, which is Slug Slime and LSGT1. They're at 10 points, and they're sitting at the same spot they were from the last race. And in last place, at 8th place we have the pink team, which is Punisher and Expense. They're sitting with 6 points, and they're down 1 from the last race. So good luck to everybody tonight. Hope to see you all there. I hope it's a full lobby and we have a great race, and just race for fun. It's not like FIA. You don't got to worry about the penalty crisis that's going on, nothing like that. Just show up, do your best. It's all love, no hate, nothing like that. It's all fun. So good luck to everybody. Hope to see you all there. And lastly, just a reminder to new drivers on the team, remember to race in your team livery. I know it's kind of been a stressor going on in our team, but in tonight's FIA race, or FIA races in general, just remember to put the team livery on your car. It just helps with the flow of the team, and our design team works really hard to make sure we look unified and the cars look good. So just out of respect for them and the team, just wear the team livery for your FIA races. Daily races, do whatever you want. But other than that, you new guys are awesome, and it's awesome to have you guys on the team, and thanks for joining us and taking part in what we got going on. So before I get going, like I said, I'm just going to go over some esports races that are going down this week and how you can watch or take part in them. Our race week here on the podcast will go from Saturday to Friday, Saturday being the first day of race week, Friday being the last day of race week. So with all that being said, here's this week's race schedule. So tonight on Saturday, 2/29/2020, we have the FIA GT Sport Nations Cup round 4 out of 8. That would be a grade 1 race at Dragontail Gardens. Races will start at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. The last race you can catch will be at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. To enter this race, you'll need to go to sports mode on Gran Turismo Sport and enter the next upcoming race before 10:20. I think they shut down the whole thing and they post up when the next race is right after 10:20. So the last race you can enter is at 10:20. Nothing after that. So you got to jump in before 10:20, and you also need a grade 1 car. And tonight we also have our team race. As I said earlier, this race is for the team only. It's PSRT Grade 2 Race to the States Tournament, round 3 of 10. This race will be 19 laps on the Newbury GP track. Lobby is up at 11 p.m. EST. Race starts at 12 a.m. EST. So good luck to everyone that's going to come join that race tonight, and hopefully it's a good race. Next up, Sunday, 3/1/2020, FIA GT Sport Manufacturers Series Round 4 out of 8. That'd be a Grade 4 car race on the Tokyo Expressway. Lobbies open up at 5 p.m. EST. The last race you can catch will be at 10:20 p.m. EST. This will be your contracted manufacturer car race, so whoever you signed with, you have to use that brand of car. On Monday, March 3rd, 3/2/2020, I'll be doing Monster Energy Supercross 3 Online Pros 250 division. It's round 2. This is a Supercross race. I'll be representing Pinnacle Sim Race Team. This race starts at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. To enter the league, just search MX Supercross Online Pros on Facebook and message the page. I'm going to be streaming that race on my Twitch, so I'll have, like I said earlier, I have my Twitch link in the description. Next up is Tuesday, March 3rd, 3/3/2020, FIA GT Sport Nations Cup, round 5 out of 10. That'd be a Grade 3 race at Circuit de la Barcelona. Lobbies open up at 5 p.m. Last race you can catch is 10:20 p.m. EST. After Tuesday, we got Wednesday's race, which is March 4th, 2020, which is the FIA GT Sport Manufacturer Series Round 5 out of 10. That'd be a Grade 3 race at Lake Magyar. I don't know how to say the name of the circuit. I really don't like that circuit, but Magyar. That race starts at 5 p.m. like every other FIA race, and the last race you can catch is the 10:20 p.m. We also have on Wednesday Monster Energy Supercross 3 Online Pros League again, this time the 450 division. It's another Supercross race for online pros. If you want to catch that race along with my 250 division race, just go to my Twitch on Wednesday at around 7 p.m. and you can catch the race there. So pretty much that's all of our races for this week. Comment with some more racing series that you guys know of outside of GT Sports, so we can probably highlight them here in their schedule so people can join or stuff like that. If you own a racing league or you're in charge of one, comment it, tell people how to join, who to talk to and stuff. We really want to bring everyone together here on the podcast. It's kind of like a meeting spot for like all forms of sim racing. So yeah, if you know any leagues, just comment them. So I'm getting ready to head out. Before I do, I'd just like to leave you guys with 3 questions to answer in the comment. So I'm going to ask a question, just leave your answer in the comments pretty much with 1, 2, and 3. So my first question is, what do you guys think is faster, the controller or a sim racing wheel for like sim racing? Not necessarily motorbike games, of course you can't use a wheel for motorbike games, but Gran Turismo, Assetto Corsa, what do you guys think is better, a DualShock 4 controller or a sim racing wheel? For my second question, what is your favorite Gran Turismo Sport track? So let me know what you guys love to drive on every day. Like what's that track that you're on almost every day? And my last question is, if sim racing YouTubers GT Sport and Jimmy Broadbent got into a fight, who would win and how? So just let me know your answers down in the comment. But with all that being said, I think I'm going to go ahead and close up the show. I want to thank you guys for listening in. This is the first podcast I've ever done, so That's kind of why I'm like tripping up on words. Just kind of weird sitting here talking to myself, but it'll get better. I'll work on it and work on better in the podcast. Sorry if podcast seems a little wonky. Just give us some time to get better at it. Like I said, this is our first time doing stuff like this, so just give me some feedback on the show and give me some ideas on what to talk about next Friday. Eventually the podcast will be live, but I think I'm going to do it this way just for now, just so it kind of saves the wonkiness, and that was kind of my reason for recording it this way, because if you kind of listen to the discussion, you can see where the podcast is kind of all over the place. It's really not organized, it's good conversation, but it's just not the way I want to present the show for the first time. So anyway, thanks for listening and giving an ear. Hope to see some of you guys in the fear races tonight. Hope to see some of my team members in our team tournament tonight. If I don't see you in the fear races tonight or tomorrow, hopefully I see you guys in the daily races or something. Comment your PSN, we'll add you. You can join in our lobbies. Like I said, thanks for giving me an ear. Hit that like button, subscribe, and also hit the bell to get a notification when our podcast uploads. This is the Pinna podcast with your host, PSRT Tie Guy. It's been real, and always remember, what's behind you doesn't matter. Go Pinna.